Gordon Park from Barrow was eventually jailed for killing his wife Carol in 2005 after her remains were found at the bottom of Coniston Water.
He took his own life in jail 9 years ago. Today, though, his family began their appeal against his conviction at the Royal Courts of Justice.
What if I told you that a missing woman, presumed lost forever, was discovered 21 years later at the bottom of a lake?
He went to the grave protesting his innocence, sentenced to life for murdering his wife, Carol.
A body wrapped in canvas, weighed down with lead, hidden away for decades.
Tonight, we explore the case surrounding a grisly discovery in the depths of Inks Lake and the mysterious death of Holly Simmons, unsolved for nearly 9 years.
But who is behind this chilling crime?
Now, in an effort to bring her killer out of the shadows, investigators are coming forward with details they have never talked about publicly.
Join us as we dive deep into one of the Lake District's most mysterious cases. Carol Park vanished without a trace in 1976, and for over 2 decades, no one knew where she had gone. But when her body was finally discovered in Coniston Water, everything pointed to her controlling husband, Gordon Park. The hunt for justice would take years, and the twists in this story will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Don't miss out on the shocking details of this case. Stay tuned to find out how this haunting mystery unfolded and what justice truly means for those left behind. Jeremy's background. Jeremy KCK, welcome to Crime World. It's really nice to have you on the show. Thank you very much for having me, Nicola. Jeremy, to begin with, tell us a bit about your background and how you ended up writing your new book, The Lady in the Lake. It's a fascinating read and covers a long road to justice for the lady at the heart of it. But first, could you share your own background with our audience? Who are you, and what led you to write this book? Certainly, I spent 25 years as a journalist, working across the northwest of England at various levels: local, regional, and national newspapers. I started my career in the Lake District, where I grew up, working for a local paper. During that time, I covered the case at the heart of the Lady in the Lake. That case, and my experiences as a reporter, stayed with me and ultimately became the inspiration for this book. Today, I teach the next generation of journalists at Manchester Metropolitan University, but my journey started with hands-on crime reporting. It was in my early years as a reporter in the Lake District that I first encountered the case of Carol Park, a story that would unfold over decades, ultimately leading to this book. The Lake District. The Lake District is a place we know for its stunning natural beauty. It's a popular tourist destination, renowned for its picturesque landscapes and tranquil lakes. But it's also a place with a darker, more complex side. Jeremy, tell us about the two sides of the Lake District. Well, Cumbria, where the Lake District is located, really has two faces. On one side, you have the idyllic and beautiful spots like Grasmere, Windermere, and Ambleside, places that attract tourists from all over the world. These areas are known for their scenic beauty and outdoor recreation, making them a peaceful retreat for many. But there's also another side to Cumbria. Particularly along the west coast, you'll find industrial towns like Barrow, Inverness. These towns have experienced tough times, with industries in decline and communities facing hardship. It's a place of contrasts, stunning natural beauty set against the backdrop of working-class industrial life. This is part of the reason why crime, especially unusual cases like the one in your book, stands out in the region. Disappearance of Carol Park in 1976. Carol Park, a mother of 3, disappeared without a trace. It was a case that initially received little attention, but over time, it became one of the most talked about mysteries in the Lake District. Jeremy, did you know about Carol Park's disappearance when you first started working in the area? No, I didn't know about Carol's disappearance at the time. I grew up in the Lake District, and although I was familiar with the area, I wasn't aware of the case. Carol went missing in 1976, and it didn't get much media coverage. She was from Barrow, Inverness, which was outside the local paper's circulation area. It was briefly covered by the Northwest Evening Mail, and there was an appeal to find her, but after that, the story faded into the background. It wasn't until 1997, over 20 years later, when amateur divers found her body in Coniston Water, that the case resurfaced. It was then that people began to connect the dots, and Carol's name started to be suggested by both the public and the police. The mystery of her disappearance suddenly became one of the region's most haunting cases, and it would take years before justice was served. The discovery in 1997, an unexpected twist, brought new life to the case. Amateur divers, just exploring Coniston Water, made a shocking discovery. What happened exactly, Jeremy? Yes, it's a remarkable part of the story. The divers were members of an amateur scuba diving club in Kendal, just out for a typical dive. They were looking for items that had fallen off boats, like outboard motors. But what they found instead was something far more sinister. They came across a large canvas bag, weighted down by lead piping, sitting about 25 meters from the shore and 15 meters underwater. At first, they thought it might just be some lost equipment, but as soon as they cut into the bag, they realized it wasn't just objects, it was a body. It was a horrifying moment for them, and they quickly contacted the police. The body was soon identified, and Carol Park's name was one of the first suggested. The discovery brought back the case that had been dormant for decades, and the community was shaken. The mystery of what happened to Carol Park was far from over. Gordon Park's involvement, as the investigation into Carol Park's death unfolded, suspicion quickly turned to her husband, Gordon Park. Jeremy, tell us about the police's focus on Gordon and what made him such a key figure in the case. The police were suspicious of Gordon Park from the very beginning, especially given the circumstances surrounding Carol's disappearance in 1976. Gordon was her husband, but their marriage had been troubled. Carol had left him several times due to his controlling nature and infidelity. Despite their separation, she kept returning to him, drawn back by her children and the hope that things might improve. When Carol went missing in 1976, Gordon didn't report it for 6 weeks, which immediately raised suspicions. He waited until the end of the school holidays before telling anyone. Moreover, when he finally reported her missing, he did so through his solicitor, not directly to the police. That alone set off alarms. By the time the body was discovered in 1997, Gordon had moved on with his life, even remarried twice. Still, the police began to zero in on him more seriously. He was arrested shortly after the body was found, and the evidence against him continued to mount, particularly because of his sailing background and his knowledge of knots. The circumstances surrounding Carol's death seemed to point back to Gordon, making him the prime suspect in her murder. Justice for Carol after years of investigation. The case against Gordon Park took a dramatic turn. Despite the circumstantial evidence, it wasn't until 2004 that Gordon was arrested again. Jeremy, what happened next in the pursuit of justice for Carol? In 2004, after almost a decade of further investigation, Doug Marshall, the detective working on the case, convinced his superiors and the Crown Prosecution Service to reopen the case. This was a critical moment. By then, new evidence had come to light, including confessions from Gordon while he was in remand, witnesses who came forward claiming to have seen him dispose of the body, and even forensic evidence like the rock found near where Carol's body was discovered, which seemed to match a rock from Gordon's property. In the trial that followed, Gordon Park was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. However, he continued to protest his innocence from behind bars. His family launched a campaign to clear his name, but sadly, Gordon never saw the justice he hoped for. After just 5 years in prison, he committed suicide. Despite the tragic end to his life, Carol Park's family, especially her brother, Iva Price, found some sense of closure. The long road to justice had finally reached its end, but it came with a heavy price for all involved. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another deep dive into a real crime mystery. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think of Gordon Park's actions during the investigation? Was he guilty all along, or did the police miss something? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure you don't miss our next video, Who Killed PC Keith Blakelock? The Tottenham Riots Cold Case, coming soon! Stay tuned.